Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome to week 17 of Flex Friday. We made it to the end of the season. I know Andy and I are happy just to do 17 consecutive weeks of anything. It is not easy to do in your life. So if you guys have been coming every week, hats off. If you made it to your fantasy football championship, hats off. I mean, if you made it to the consolation bracket and you're still setting your lineup, hats off, because that is just as difficult. I mean, I even know for me,
real MVPs,
unless there's anything on the line, I kind of just don't like to pick up people, and I don't really even play. But if there's stuff on the line, dynasty leagues, that kind of stuff, you never know. But Andy, I appreciate you joining me for the last week of this series. We may do some extra fun stuff, maybe get more into some dynasty stuff on Fridays moving forward. I don't know exactly, but nice to see you. How was your holiday season?
You man, it was great. Had a father-in-law was in town staying with us, and other in-laws came and had some good time with my folks. So it was just a whole big week of family and celebration, and just a real good time. And you know, the Packers might have lost, but they also clinched the playoffs. So a little weird, like Christmas pre-disappointment and then happiness. And you know, I'm in one championship, so at least I've still got that going for me, and keep me going fighting to the end. So hopefully anybody here watching is with me here, and hopefully you're not having to play any of these players that we're going to talk about, because
it's tough, dude. The longer I play fantasy football, the more I start going towards like, dude, maybe I should shift a league to some interesting playoff settings, because I've been reading about some and I've been seeing some I kind of liked. I saw one the other day that I thought was really interesting, where it was like you get to the playoffs and then it's like you do like 6 teams, top 3 teams advance to the next round, 3 teams, top 2 advance, and then and I was like, I kind of like that, because then it's not like matchup based. But I think it's the old argument is how much skill and how much luck do you want involved, and it's kind of to each league to determine that. Like, I like less luck involved, but I also play with a lot of people that like luck involved. And maybe it's just because, look, I'm not going to say there's a better or worse one. Like, to me, it's like, it upsets me when, you know, you have a better team and you lose, but also that happens. Like, it's not, you can't ever truly mitigate that out.
I mean, in the league where, you know, I'm playing in the championship, last week I had the second most points scored, going up against the third most points scored. And then the 2 teams in the other game were like, we were like 50, 60 points above them. And it's kind of a bummer that it's like us 2 were playing each other and those 2 were playing each other. It's like, you just drop, 100, and that league, a good score is like 150 or more. And it's like, you drop like barely 100. It's like, oof.
Yeah, and then I'm sitting there dropping 170 after losing in the first round, and you're just like, of course, my team goes off this week. Like, it's just the worst. But it's hard. It is what it is. But we appreciate you guys joining in. Looks like we already got a question. We'll get to that. Then we're going to get into our picks from last week. We're going to get to picks from this week. If you guys are joining in on your holiday break, obviously we appreciate you joining us. It's kind of like, it's weird, right? It's like the most important fantasy week in a way. I would say draft week in this week, most on the line. But also, like, it's holiday season, so like I totally understand if you're taking in less content because you're doing stuff with your family. Like, it's not like, it's kind of one of those things. But we got our boy Epic Ape Fight. He's a guy we see most weeks in here. We appreciate you coming back as well. What's up, guys? Lad or Luther Burden? And then he's got another question we'll get to after this. So, Andy, are you leaning any direction here? We got Lad McConkey and Luther Burden. Note-wise, I guess Roma Dunze is ruled out for that game. So he's probably slotted to be the wide receiver 2 behind DJ Moore. Lad McConkey going up against Houston. Tough one.
That is a tough matchup. I mean, I do like Burden, and I mean, love Lad long-term, but this is such a bad matchup for him, where I feel like Luther Burden, to me, it's kind of one of those where I feel like Burden might be more likely to get like a massive game. Not that Lad can't, but I think just going against Houston, it's going to be a little bit more unlikely. So I almost lean Burden for upside, but I mean, it's tough to bench Ladd, even though he's been, hasn't been nearly as hot as he was last year with, QJ stepping up and Keenan Allen taking a bit of the work.
I think, yeah, I mean, I think this is it's like a mindset question, right? Are you a start your studs guy, or are you like, I'm swinging for it this week? And Ladd isn't really a stud, but drafted to be a stud, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I think if I was projected to win and I had a big game out of someone, or I'm not playing catch up, I think I'm just going to go Ladd McConkey and not overthink it. I think if I had like Jahmyr Gibbs, who put up a stinker, and I need to catch up with some points, I think I might aim for the ceiling with a Luther Burden type.
Yeah.
I mean, the Niners, it could be a shootout. I think this might be one of those games where you might want to get players from these teams into your lineups because, I mean, look at that game with the Colts on Monday. Like, I mean, Josh Downs went off, Alec Pierce went off, like the Niners players all went off. Like, it could really be one of those games. So I think I would probably not bench Ladd, but if I'm like looking to catch up some points, I think I agree with you. Like Burden has a huge ceiling potentially. And in another league, wide receiver 2 and flex with Evans. Okay, so 2 of these 5, Evans, Michael Wilson, Pittman, Jennings, Watson.
I mean, as crazy it is to say it, I feel like Wilson is a guy that I'm not taking out of my lineup.
I think Wilson and Jennings. And I think Jennings has been so good.
Jennings
in what looks to be another really good matchup, like we just talked about. I mean, they just put up 40-something. And I like Mike Evans, but I don't think he's as much of like a lock start. Wilson going against the Bengals seems like one of those ones.
Yeah.
I think I'm ruling Watson out. No Jordan Love. I'm not going to play that game unless I have to.
Yeah.
And Pittman, I don't hate any of these options. I would say I would definitely I get Evans, Wilson, and Jennings, and I'm deciding between those 3.
Yeah, I 100% agree there.
Yep, here you go. Started Gibbs and Jam. Yeah, dude. I think if you need the points, I think I might go Burden. I think it's it could be interesting, but also depends on projections aren't everything, but your matchup. So it could be one of those things that we don't fully know everything about your league, but hopefully that helps you. Obviously, if you have any other questions, we are down to help. But until we start getting some more questions, we are going to get into our deep, desperate flex plays, whatever you want to call it. I think desperate flex plays is probably basically what we're going for. And no better than picking up a dude off the waiver wire. Desperation. Hasn't played in 3 weeks. Going up against Pittsburgh. Dylan Sampson, obviously Judkins, really bad injury last week.
Yeah.
We wish him the best. I did see he didn't tear his knee or anything, so hopefully that means it's slightly better, even though really bad injury, broken leg.
About as good as multiple broken bones, I think can be, but yeah, luckily the ligaments are intact. And at this point, this Browns backfield seems a little confusing. There was Raheem Sanders and Travion Williams kind of splitting the work. Sanders getting a little bit more of it. And now if Dylan Sampson is coming back, obviously if he's not, then, don't play him. But, he's still kind of had a pretty solid pass catching role for this team. And I feel like he's going to slot back in there. I think he is pretty dynamic. He's shown he can take screen passes and run them to the house. And the Steelers, it's not a great matchup for running backs. They've been pretty good against RBs. But they do allow the 10th most receiving yards to the position. So I think if he does come back, they put him back into that pass catching role that he has been really good at. He's going to have some opportunities, especially if this does turn into a negative game script like it's projected to be, and he is the pass catcher. Keep monitoring the situation because obviously if he doesn't play, don't put him in your lineup. But out of the guys in that backfield, this would be my first choice to play.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll probably, just for the sake of making this show go smoothly, Andy sent his picks in, and I think they're both potentially worth an ad. If you're looking for a running back coming off the waiver wire, this probably is really your only option. I don't really know where else you're you're going looking for running backs at this point, unless someone dropped someone really weird, or like you're getting really, really desperate, like hoping for an injury. Maybe like you could get lucky with Emmanuel Wilson if Jacobs, even though he's playing, like doesn't play as much.
Yeah.
But I think probably they're both going to get snaps. I think I would lean Samson. Samson's showed in a couple times that when he gets more snaps, he's been able to produce. And I like the PPR sense of how he does produce. Where I think Raheem Sanders, I think you're hoping for him to fall into the end zone. And he probably would project as the goal line back. It's just the Browns don't get in the goal line very much. So it's like, even with Judkins, like it wasn't really something that happened a ton this year. So I think you're hoping for that. I really hope you're not in this situation, but if you had Judkins, you snuck through to the finals, even though he didn't do great last week, this might be one of your only options. I don't really know like where else you'd be able to go looking. I have another guy in my list, another running back that is still pretty lowly owned. Or actually, he wasn't on my list, but I almost had him on my list. But Michael Carter's still about 50% owned. Like maybe you could pivot there. It's not pretty either, though. He's not like some like stud thing. But are there any notes you want to add on this matchup, Andy? Or I think it guess, kind of is what it is. Like,
yeah, and if you're in this position where I would imagine that if you're playing in the championship and you need a running back, that the rest of your team has to look really good. You could last second kind of, pick up both of these guys and then figure out game time. Like, okay, Samson's playing, I'm going to play him, but then just have it in case the news comes out, oh, Samson's not playing. And then I think Raheem Sanders is going to get opportunities and would be, especially if Samson's out, a fairly decent start.
Yeah. There's just not much. It's why getting these flex plays, it's like, we hope you don't have to play these players. We really do. This is one of the guys, though, you could pick up with a ceiling. And I love you including here. This has been a dynasty stash for me for a couple of years, so I love seeing him, ball out in a way. I think wide receiver 35 is balling out for Parker Washington. So loved seeing him go off last week. And what about this matchup? Do you like Indy? Obviously, we saw them on Monday night. So
yeah. And also, huge game last week. I think he was wide receiver 4 on the week, which, probably not going to reach those heights again, but he still has a great opportunity. And he's looked solid as an NFL wide receiver. The Colts allowing the 5th most points to opposing wide receivers and the 2nd most yards to wide receiver 3s. They've been pretty good about limiting a lot of wide receiver 1s, but kind of just like the Broncos, they had Surtain, falling around Brian Thomas Jr. for a lot of the game. So because of that, I think he will have more opportunities in this matchup than he would have in some other ones, and he's capable of making those plays. So, the Colts, we'll see where they're at. Obviously getting trounced. They got Phillip Rivers back there. Defense letting up a lot of points. I think he'll have every opportunity to get some targets. Don't know if it'll be 10 for, 6 for 145 and a touchdown, but he's shown that he's capable of that, which is a good sign.
And he's just on a team that's hot, dude. Trevor Lawrence is one of those guys that has just been on an absolute tear the last couple of weeks. And I've got a dude in one of our dynasty leagues that like I want to say he was like the 6th seed, and he has Puka and Lawrence, and he knocked off me, who was the 3 seed. He knocked off the 2 seed, and it's just like that's it. His team is Trevor Lawrence and Puka Nacua, and then just like. He has like Tyrone Tracy, Harold Fannin, another guy that's been on playing well, but he's not like loaded with superstars. He just has guys dropping 50s, and sometimes you just can't do it. And so the upside is there. Like, yes, like would we project him to go 10 targets? Like, no, but he's had a couple of these spike games, so it is within the realm. Maybe not this was kind of his highest peak, but he had 8 for 90. A touchdown and 18 points here, 5 for 70 and a touchdown. Yeah. So this is something he can do, and I'm curious what happens here. Like, it's kind of upsetting that he's probably or potentially going to get buried on this team unless they make some sort of move this offseason, because Myers, Hunter coming back, obviously BTJ. Maybe there's going to be rumors of them trading BTJ or something. I don't really know. But I like this upside play. And I think for me, like moving into another one, we already had a question about this, but he's ruled in and he's got the upside. No Rome Odunze. Obviously, DJ Moore had a massive game last week again, getting the targets, but he's probably going to draw a little more attention, DJ Moore that is, than Luther Burden. And as we saw last week, Indy was able to pass against the Niners. And I would expect that is something that the Bears like at least look into. They're going to try and run the ball. It's what they do, but it's very possible this game turns out into just like a Sunday night shootout. And if that's the case, Burden is one of those guys that would probably have a chance. If you're in the championship and you're looking for upside, I think this is kind of how you need to think. Now, if you're looking for an RB2, it sucks. Go with the Browns guys. Hopefully you're not looking for a running back. I think there's some more wide receiver options this week that at least carry a bit of upside. But, I mean, Luther Burden was breaking out, quote unquote, not major breakout, but kind of a little mini breakout before he took a game off. And I think the hope would be with no Rome Odunze, he just continues to do so.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I think, having another good wide receiver be healthy is going to be huge for this offense. They're going to need to score a lot of points this game to win, unlike last week against my Packers. There was a low-scoring, crazy game at the end there, sadly. But the Niners also dead last in DVOA to wide receiver twos, and I think that's the way that this team can really move the ball against them. Obviously, they're going to try to do it with the run. DJ Moore is probably going to get some of his targets, but Luther Burden should have plenty of opportunity as well. So yeah, I think he might be, out of all our picks this week, like my favorite, like high upside play. And if you're playing in the championship, part of me, it's like, I'd rather almost go down swinging and like take those shots on those guys who can like really score than just be sweating it out where, oh yeah, you got me 7 points, but
yeah. So getting into the next question here, it involves a guy we just talked about in Luther Burden. So start 3. There are 2 tight ends here, so I guess we have to pick one of the tight ends. But if these are just flex plays, I don't know if it's at the tight end position. But Taysom Hill, Luther Burden, Marv, and Harold Fannin. Fannin did pop up on the injury report. I guess we'll assume he's playing unless ruled out. So obviously, if one of us picks Fannin and he's ruled out, we are not suggesting you play an injured player. But let's assume he plays. So Andy, any lean here? Looks like pick a tight end and then
I would go
tight ends if you want.
I would go Burden and Marv. Obviously Marv hasn't, had that season that we were all hoping for this year, but he's dealt with a lot of injuries and they're still trying to get the ball to him, even though it's only working when they're getting it to Michael Carter. But I would probably go Taysom over Fannin, just especially with, and we talk about him a little bit more later too, but especially with all the injuries to running backs. I mean, Taysom Hill had 10 carries last week and he threw the ball 4 times. And if you can play him at tight end, like it seems like this is the point where, okay, we've had all these injuries. We're now going to use him in that role that he's played before. And he's probably going to get some goal line carries. He's going to have lots of opportunities to do stuff that tight ends should just not do. So I would go him.
Yeah. I mean, well, honestly, we can talk about it later as well. But I'm with you, dude. Like I'm playing Taysom Hill in a league. I dropped Loveland. I could have played Loveland. I could have played Warren. I could have played Dalton Kincaid. I mean, I think I would have Fannin over all those guys, but Taysom's just kind of, if he does what he does last week, like it's very cheat codey and you could kind of just pick him up. The news on Fannin's tough. I saw he popped up with a groin. It says he's going to play, but I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to go down like that. I don't like it. And then I'm going Burden, just like you. We just talked about it. I think he has the upside, and as much as I like it, I'm not rolling 2 tight ends in my flexes. Now, if it's tight end premium, I would probably have Fannin over all these guys, but it's a different game. So if it's not tight end premium, then I think I'm going the 2 wide receivers and Taysom Hill. So hopefully that helps, Nick. If you have any other questions, he did say it is 3 flex. He just added that as kind of we were chatting.
Okay.
Rave 5150. I don't think I've seen you here before, so thanks for tuning in. Make sure to hit like and hit subscribe. That is our cost for doing business. That's what we like to say. We appreciate you. Just hit subscribe so you come back. We'll help you again. I mean, this is the last week for now, but we want you all guys tuning in during the offseason, coming back next year. Start 4, Etienne Hampton, Josh Jacobs, Kyren Williams, Jakobi Meyers. So start 4 of the 5.
Okay. I think Etienne, I'm starting. Kyren, I'm starting. I think Hampton, I'm starting. If Josh Jacobs was fully healthy, for sure. But, I mean, this injury's been nagging. The Packers just clinched the playoffs. I know Josh Jacobs wants to play, but then he fumbled at the goal line, kind of got benched, but I think it was more that they didn't want to risk him getting injured. So I might lean Myers just because I am afraid.
Jacobs, dude. I think I like. It seems like weird, but these are good options. Yeah. I wouldn't sit him for I'm not sitting him for Dylan Sampson, but or Raheem Sanders and that kind of stuff. But the upside is just there with these other 4 players so much. I mean, definitely before we get to some of the tougher choices, Kyren and Etienne, smash starts. I'm not even questioning that.
Yeah.
I think Myers has been so good in that offense too. And what's tough, right, is that going back to your bit about Parker Washington is the Niners are the worst defense DVOA against wide receiver 2s. Who is going to be who's going to be the wide receiver 2? If it turns out wherever they shade their coverage or whatever, that it's Jakobi Meyers, he could have a monster game.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's already been having monster games. And so I think you can't sit. I guess he's not. I'm not totally thinking of a different team. But I was thinking of Luther Burden. But still, Myers has been too good. I'm not sitting him. I think you sit Jacobs. I think both the backups are playing Saturday night, dude. This is going to be 13-10. I think they're going to run the ball. I think it's going to be a defensive game. And by run the ball, I just think with the clinching, the number 1 seed is out of reach. Josh Jacobs wants to play, but they're not stupid. They're not going to run him into the ground. If he says he's playing, he's going to play, but he's not getting 25 carries.
I think there's going to be a healthy dose of Emmanuel Wilson. And as a Packer fan, I really hope there's a healthy dose of Emmanuel Wilson.
Yeah, there's no reason to just use him that much. This game barely matters, if at all, really.
There's a slight chance where it's if the Packers win out and the Bears lose out, then they would win the NFC North still. But I think it's more important being healthy. And Emmanuel Wilson is still a good running back. I don't think the difference for this game, is going to be Josh Jacobs. At least, and
they need a healthy Jacobs.
Maybe they don't, but I'd rather have him be healthy for the playoffs. So,
I just think it could be. It's not what I'm going for. So for Andy's last flex player of the week, I think the question we're all asking is, as we see on the screen here, are we getting this Ricky Pearsall or are we getting this Ricky Pearsall from weeks 11 through 13? Obviously a good game going up against Tennessee in week 15. Back on the injury report last week, didn't play. But they say he's listed as questionable, probably going to play this week in what could be a good matchup.
Oh, yeah. And him being on waivers, I think this is, I guess 61% here. He's a little bit lower than wherever I was looking earlier.
You're good. I didn't even question it.
Yeah. But this is another kind of swing for the fences one where obviously he's coming off of injury, which is a little bit of tough, but he came back, finally had a good game being after having a few bad ones, returning from injury, had to rest up again, but now playing up against the Bears. Let's see, 3rd most points to wide receivers, 6th most yards to wide receiver 2s. I really like Juwan Jennings as well, but I think Pearsall is really talented. I can see this being a real high scoring game. Both teams playing for a lot. If the Bears win, they clinch the NFC North. The Niners, if they went out, I'm pretty sure they're the number 1 seed in the NFC. I think they have tiebreakers over the other teams, and they play Seattle week 18 of the season. So huge game for both teams. I think we're going to see a lot of fun offense. And if he's in there in a big offensive game, especially Kittle is a little bit banged up, we'll see if he plays, but he might be one of the main options in that receiving room, up against a defense that has struggled to defend against the pass. So
yeah, I guess the rostership is 61. Honestly, I didn't really think much about it. I drop him in a league. I had no trust in him. And then he had one good game, and you're picking in the dumpster right now if you're hitting the waiver wire looking for starters. So we will say it all show. I really hope you're not depending on these guys. We went very high upside on the wide receivers, and I think Ricky Pearsall slots into that. Like, he's got 6 for 96 and a touchdown. I mean, let's just add a touchdown to his Tennessee game. He's got that in his arsenal. He also has 2 for 14 in his arsenal. And I think that's kind of what you're going to have to live with some of these wide receivers. I'm going to get into my last one, and this is my desperation one of the week. He's made some big plays. Maybe he gets a slight, as we're getting here on the little sleeper thing, expanded role. Butte's not going to play with the concussion. Maybe Kyle Williams gets some run as like a deep threat. And this Jets game, like, we'll see. We'll see how the Patriots play this. Like, do they do the Jacksonville thing from a couple of weeks ago where they just drop 50 on the Jets? Maybe they do. And if that's the case, Kyle Williams has a chance to have another big spike game. And that's what I'm looking at here. If you're looking for a guy, you have a deep league with deep benches where there's no one available on the waiver wires, and you're only looking at people with a 6% roster percentage. I think Kyle Williams offers about as much upside for 6% roster that you can get for this specific week. Basically the best matchup you can get, and he's a deep threat guy who could potentially make a big play for your team.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And, also as a rookie, he's starting to get at least a little bit more involved. There's the 3 games that Booty missed earlier. He had a couple goose eggs, but also had a top 20 finish. But that's also a lot earlier in the season. As players develop a little bit more, gain a little bit more rapport, you think that he'll probably be more involved in the offense now than he would have been earlier on in the year. I think Pop Douglas is a little banged up too, but he hasn't really done much this year. But yeah, Jets 3rd worst DVOA to wide receiver 2s. Definitely going to have some opportunities. And if you're in your championship, we said it earlier, swing for the fences. Like, especially if you're projected to be losing, it's going to give you, I'd rather have a better chance of getting 20 than like, okay, I know this guy is going to get me 7 points, but there's almost no way he's going to, unless he falls in the end zone twice, is going to be up there in that 20 range. Whereas Kyle Williams could be one play, 60-yard touchdown, and then you're stoked. So, yeah,
I mean, I'm not saying I don't have him in my top 35 guys for the week. It's a desperation play. James Grover, we appreciate you joining, man. If you haven't been here before, hit like, hit subscribe. If you have, totally apologize. We see a lot of names. But we are here to help you today, man. Pick 1 RB, 1 tight end, 1 flex PPR league. So we got 1 RB. Let's just do them by position here. Okay. Hampton, Stevenson, Pollard. So out of those RBs, where are you leaning? I don't think we've got official news on Travion yet, but it seems like he might play.
I think if Travion plays, I would kind of take Stevenson out of there. I know it's a bad matchup, but I feel like I would still go Hampton over Pollard. I know Spears is still getting some of the work there. You just check up on Pollard. I mean, he did have 21 carries last week, but they were also kind of putting it to the Chiefs, where I don't know if that's going to be the case, even though they're playing the Saints. I would lean Hampton for running back. I don't know. Where do you stand? Unless for sure Henderson's out, then I think I would go Stevenson.
I want to look. I don't have Hampton on any teams. I want to see how he's. Well, I mean, like
tanking team, but I mean, he finally got up to 55%. I feel like that number.
Yeah, I'm going Hampton, dude. I mean, these last couple games, I think he's being used very well, and he has been coming back from that injury. And I think Vidal potentially might not play, right? There's some, he's a little banged up even. Okay. I really think the only thing that would change it would be if you get news that Travion doesn't play. Stevenson is a smash start, but we don't have that information yet. And I think Pollard's good. I just think I'm leaning the other guys. Tight end wise, if you missed earlier in the show, James, we're both on the Taysom Hill bandwagon. So we're going Taysom Hill this week. Yeah. Schultz has been good. I don't think the Chargers are a great matchup, though. But we like Taysom Hill this week. And wide receiver wise, Or it could be flex too. So actually, if you prefer one of these guys over Tet or BTJ, you could throw another running back into that flex position, Andy. So let's say if we're playing Hampton at running back, Stevenson, Pollard, Tet, or BTJ at flex position.
I think if Henderson doesn't play, I would probably run out there with 2 running backs. I might go Stevenson and Hampton. And then Taysom Hill. I think if he does play, I probably play Hampton, and then man, these guys both. Brian Thomas has a good matchup against Indy, even though they're a little worse against wide receiver ones. And then Tet McMillan playing against Seattle, good defense there, but I mean he's been pretty good.
I think I might go Stevenson, dude.
Yeah. Even if Henderson's back?
Yeah, I just don't think there's no way they just completely lean on him. I just think the Jets are a team that I mean, I guess they could. We don't really know. I do think Stevenson's probably like the safest floor player out of these guys. Tet and BTJ are sketch. Like, yes, they have the ceiling, and we've been talking about ceiling all show. I don't know. I think I might go Stevenson. I understand. I don't know where you're kind of at, James, or how you feel in your matchup at the moment. So hopefully we help you out a little bit. Hopefully one of us agreed with you. That's what I like to say. If one of us agreed with you, you got the news you needed.
Do you think if you had to choose between Tet or Brian Thomas, who would you play in that scenario? Because they're so close. One little bit better matchup. One I feel has
the Panthers play
this. Panthers are playing the Seahawks. And then the Jags are playing the Colts.
I wouldn't play Tet against the Seahawks.
You wouldn't play Tet? Okay.
No. I think I would go the better matchup, which is BTJ. I mean, we talked about it. Like, it's not perfect, but like I do think any of those Jacksonville wide receivers have a chance for a massive game. It's just we don't know which one it's going to be. I think one of them will have it for sure. Yeah. Like, it's hard to project it. I mean, perfectly. Yeah. I think I would just go safer. Maybe that's me being a little scared. Maybe that's me just like assuming even if he does play, they're not going to be an idiot with Travion, where like they're playing the Jets. Like, they play the Jets this week, Miami next week. Like, they need him for the playoffs. Yeah. That's information we don't have, though. That's like, we don't fully know here. So moving into our streamers for the week, Andy going with the Green Bay Packer backup QB on Saturday Night Football, Malik Willis. Right. Looked pretty good last week.
Dude, Malik Willis, every time he shows up, you know, when Jordan Love's banged up, he looks really good in a Packers uniform. I don't know what was going on in Tennessee. They need to update that sleep picks. He's been on the Packers for a while now, but I mean, he's looking pretty good. He went 9 for 11 for 121 on a touchdown through the air, 10 carries, 44 yards on the ground. I mean, some elite mobility. I can't remember when it was, but there was one play where he's in the pocket, dodging rushers, scrambling around, and it looked like he was going to get sacked 4 different times and then somehow ran for a first down. So he has that floor of being able to rush, but also he'll run it in the end zone, and he's been getting it done passing. I mean, very small sample size, but really high EPA per drop pack. He's been really efficient. I mean, 9 for 11 this game. You go back to any other time he's come in the game, it's very high completion percentage. You might have to go back to last year, but even
well, that's what I was going to see is like, I think what would be really relevant is just some of his starts from last year. Like, here's 15 points, 27 points.
Yeah.
I guess he only played 37% snap percentage, but the 2 full starts, I mean, 15 plus 28, 43. So he averaged like 20 points. I mean, sure, one of them was 15 and one was 28, but like, he has the rushing floor. It's exactly what you look for in fantasy football. It's why it's such a cheat code. Like, running for 40 yards is the equivalent of throwing for 100. So like, that's just a crazy difference. It's not even like, you know, and I personally think
too, if he runs one in, that's another 2 points. So
I think he's going to start for someone next year, dude. I think Malik Willis is going to be a bridge quarterback. Honestly, we'll see what happens. There's just so many bad quarterbacks out there, and I don't know if he's a top 10 quarterback, but I don't think he's a bottom 10 quarterback.
I would say as far as backups go, he is for sure one of the best backup quarterbacks in the league. And I think he is better than some of the starters out there. But it's also, I think, Green Bay has a good offense and, there's a lot of weapons to get the ball to.
It is for sure.
A good coach. So he's got a good net behind him as well. But yeah, I think this is a great game.
I've been seeing some people say they'd love him in like Miami if they just fully cut to because same thing, good offensive coach, good player, good offensive weapons around. And yeah, James, we're happy to help you, man. Glad you tuned in and best of luck. We'll be rooting for you. Even though we get a lot of comments, dude, honestly, I remember a lot of the stuff I say on this, and I'll be sitting watching Red Zone being like, dude, I hope he did whatever. I hope the guy that we were talking to, I hope his team's doing well. Okay, Epic Trick Shots. If you haven't been here before, make sure to hit like, hit subscribe. I am in the stupidest situation ever. I need to start 3. I think by stupid, he just means he has good choices, would be my guess.
Yeah.
Bucky, Gainwell, Henry, Kyren, Cole. Start 3.
I think I'm starting Kyren.
I'm starting Kyren, and I'm starting Gainwell. Dude, Gainwell, he's been so good, and no DK Metcalf, he might be their best offensive player.
Dude, that catch that he made last week was insane.
Yeah. I think his volume you can't ignore. I think you have to go Kyren. I'm not benching Kyren. I'm not getting cute. I'm not benching Gainwell. And at this point, because it's backup v backup, I'm not benching Henry. I think if it was backup v Jordan Love, maybe I think you could make the argument to bench Henry. Bucky hasn't been good enough, and he doesn't get the red zone touches. That's the issue. If he was getting the red zone touches, Bucky's an amazing player. But Sean Tucker is getting the red zone touches. And say what you will, the Ravens haven't been perfect, but Derrick Henry gets the red zone touches, and he just has the highest chance here. And then you can't play Kyren and Corum. I'm not doing that. So if you really want to play Corum because you think he's better than Kyren, then I think that's on your choice, Trick Shot. If you want to do that, I personally am just going to go Kyren. I do think Corum's a good player, and I think he's flex worthy, but I'm not playing him over Kyren. I don't know where Andy's at, though.
No, I agree. I was leaning towards Henry over Bucky, and you made a good point. I think both backup quarterbacks being in there is going to lead to they're going to need to really.
My only Henry concern was, are they getting blown out? That would be my concern. Is do you think starting? I would say in a vacuum, I don't have an issue with it. With your depth at running back, though, it's not something I would do. I would do it if I had no other options, but Henry and Gainwell are guys I'm playing over Corum for sure.
Yeah.
Corum's been really good, but he's scored. Take his touchdowns away, and he's not putting up enough carries and yardage, I think.
Yeah. Kyren still had a decent game last week, but if you give him that touchdown, he has a monster game, and Corum has a pretty poor game.
I love it. I love the tight end questions.
Yeah.
This is what we're here for. We are here to push you into playing Taysom Hill in your championship game. Yeah. I'm playing him. Andy suggested him. We are all in on Taysom Hill. I'm in the finals, and I'm projected to win by 12 points, so I can go for upside. Also do Michael Carter, Ladd, or Corum at flex. So for me, Taysom Hill over Kincaid at tight end. Flex-wise, Andy, how you leaning?
I think it's Michael Carter. I mean, he's been on – oh, wait. No, sorry. Never mind. Not Michael Carter. I was thinking of who's the wide receiver for the Cardinals. I think
Michael Wilson.
Michael Wilson. Yeah, okay. Okay, not Michael Carter. The Rams are playing the Falcons on Monday. I think I would go Ladd, but I also see Corum is going to get some touches. I feel like he's got a higher floor than any of those guys.
I'm just going to bring up Corum's last couple games.
Yeah. because he has been getting a decent amount of work. As somebody who's got Kyron Williams in the championship this week, I need Corum to do a little bit less. 11 for 75, and
he's been really good. The Arizona game, let's keep in mind that that was but I mean,
he's been getting those touchdowns. I mean, I'm okay. Maybe I would play Corum over Ladd, especially being projected to win. If you feel like you're going to win, if you took the flex away and just looked at your two teams and be like, okay, I think my team is better, because he still can get touchdowns and he is probably going to get at least 10 carries. Maybe
I think I would go Corum at flex here. I think this is kind of the position where when we were talking about Trickshot's team, you have Derrick Henry, Kenny Gainwell. I'm ranking those guys over Corum, but I think I'd feel pretty comfortable playing Corum in this position. So hopefully that helps, man. Make sure to hit subscribe. We appreciate you tuning in. Trickshot, another.
Same one. Barner. Yeah, you're good. I was reading the other one.
Strange and Mayer at tight end. Who should I start? Full PPR. Also should I go Pearsall, Trey Tucker, AD Mitchell? I think Strange. I think for me, it's Strange for sure. Just the best offense.
Yeah.
I don't think it's as simple as no Brock Bowers. Michael Mayer is going to be amazing. It doesn't work like that. He's not as good. And I
don't want to rely on Geno Smith in my fantasy championship.
And Barner is just too up and down. I think he's a fine player. But Strange is a good player. And we've talked about him before as a streamer option when his percentage was lower. He was good to start the season. He's been a decent player since. Who should I go for? Pearsall, Trey Tucker, or AD Mitchell? I'm gonna talk that one to Andy. Andy was talking about Pearsall earlier. Is this a situation where you really like Pearsall over these other guys?
I think I like him over Trey Tucker. I think I need to double check and see how Mitchell did last week. He's been a little
6 or 7. Yeah, he didn't do great.
I think I would take the upside with Pearsall. I think he could come in and have a monster game.
I agree.
I think the floor for all these guys is really low.
It's 0.
So it's not like one of them is he's at least gonna get this. So I think Pearsall's got the most upside, and I think he's the most talented player. So
I like Pearsall too. I think he's got the ceiling I'd be looking for. So hopefully that helps. Trickshot, Alex, how you doing, my man? PPR, Ramondre Swift. Ooh, that's a tough one. Ramondre Swift or Michael Wilson.
I mean,
PPR.
If Henderson's out, I'm going Ramondre for sure.
I think Henderson out, Ramondre. I think Michael Wilson. PPR going against the Bengals. That's matchup.
I keep getting Michael Wilson and Michael Carter mixed up in my head for some reason. Yeah, I go Michael Wilson.
Same team, same first name. Not
exactly. That's what's throwing me off. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Michael Wilson, I think, is the play. Ooh, yeah.
Sorry, I've been there, dude. Yes. Yeah, that's rough, dude. Yeah. That's rough. That's an entire. You've just been absolutely shafted when you have an entire team that's been injured. When you start your injuries, would be one of the front runners for the league.
Yeah,
so hopefully those questions help you guys. We're gonna continue on with our flex players. Obviously, any sort of comment we will get to as well. So I'm going to go back to the well. He hit as a streaming option last week, Tyler Shuck.
Yeah.
Then on a roll, another good matchup going up against Tennessee. And I'm going in. I'm going in on the Saints offense here. They ain't great, but he's been looking pretty good. And two teams out of the playoffs, they don't play smart. They go for it on fourth down. This is kind of how these games go. And I'm just going with what's kind of been happening. You can see here as we have pulled up, Tyler Shuck, 4 straight games over 20 points. I don't think that's on accident. I think he's just been playing pretty well. Chris Olave has been a main recipient of that. Yeah. So here's to a Tyler Shuck to Taysom Hill championship stack. Maybe it's Taysom throwing to Tyler Shuck, though.
I was going to say, I like Taysom Hill a lot as a streamer. He's been quarterback 16 since he got the job in week 9, and then has been even better over the last few weeks than he was starting out. I think the only downside with him is there's a chance that Taysom Hill plays quarterback in a couple of red zone packages and vultures a couple passing touchdowns from him. I'm not necessarily counting on that to happen, but that would be the only downside. Other than that, I think he is a guy that you can definitely play with confidence, especially at a quarterback too, in like a super flex league. But
yeah, like I'm not playing him QB1. If you have a guy, I'm not benching Trevor Lawrence for Tyler Shuck here. Yeah. But he's been really good. I think you could do a lot worse than him off the waiver wire. Sure. I'd probably play him over. I don't know about you. I'd probably play him over Malik Willis just because I think he's been playing better. But I like Willis's rushing floor as well. So
I get that. As I like about Shuck, I would play Malik Willis 100%, but that's 100% a biased take. So.
So Alex is wondering, I got screwed with Taysom Hill. We're on the train. Look, it could go down. It could wreck. But if he does what he did last week, and I think a lot of it was just because they have no running back depth, they just are all dead. And it's basically just Estime and Taysom Hill now. Like, it's just too much usage. And it's there. Like, he has this upside at tight end that, like, sure, like, could Dalton Schultz get you 70 yards and a touchdown? Of course. Taysom Hill could get you 3 touchdowns. I've seen him do it. Like, and it's annoying, but like, I think it's just one of those things where I'm going to do it. It's up against Tennessee. Like, it's going to be a weird game. I don't know, Andy, are you on the Taysom Hill one here? I think this is basically similar to
fully on Taysom Hill. I mean, I don't know if we've gotten to our tight end picks of the week, but
we haven't. We've just talked about him so much.
We might as well pull him up. I feel like Cat's kind of out of the bag who I'm going with.
Yeah, so those are QBs. And basically, to give you guys, let you in here, Andy's pick of the week was Taysom Hill. So we were in on it. We were in on the Taysom Hill. So, Andy, give us what you got on Taysom Hill, why he's such a good streaming matchup this week as a tight end.
Yeah, I mean, the answer last week we were talking about, are you going to start Estime? Are you going to start Hull? The answer was Taysom Hill. I think he out-touched them both in that game. Let me see. I'm trying to see where his carries are. I know we went 4 for 6 passing. That's receiving.
This doesn't even show it.
Let's see. I can pull up his rush yards. I'm pretty sure I wrote it down here. 12 carries for 42 yards on the ground. They like putting him in near the red zone too, being a big guy. And then the defense has to be, it's almost wildcat-ish, but because he can throw pretty well, they still got to defend against the pass. So, I mean, he can throw for touchdowns. He can run for touchdowns. You have a tight end who you don't even really care if he gets receiving yards. It's really like, okay, he could throw a touchdown and he's going to get 12 carries, which is like a pretty solid, like RB2 numbers, or somebody who's like splitting a backfield.
Led the team in carries last week. That's what it says. Led
exactly.
the team in carries.
He's basically a running back that you get to play at.
Yeah, he's an RB2. He's an RB2 at running back, and you got to go with it. Like it seems silly, it seems weird, but you got to respect it. And I got him in a lineup. I'll be rooting for him. Jacoby or Michael Wilson, Michael Goldfield. Appreciate you tuning in, man. Make sure to hit like, hit subscribe. If you guys have joined in since I've said that, I try not to say it too much because I don't want to be that guy and be too annoying. But that's what Andy and I like to say. That is our cost. Like the video, hit subscribe so you come back. We're here to help you. We're not asking for donations. We're not asking for whatever. But, make sure to subscribe so we can keep spreading it. And Jacoby Myers or Michael Wilson, that is a tough one.
I mean, it is a tough one. Cincinnati, I'm leaning just still riding Michael Wilson, but I mean, Myers has been really good too.
I think I would lean Wilson just due to like less weapons. I think the one issue with Jacksonville that we talked about is it's just like Parker Washington even is blowing up. BTJ obviously can blow up. Strange could have a big game. ETN can have a big game. I think the Cardinals is a little more where it's like, we'll see how much Marv plays. Like, if you have to play him, I think I have to play him in a dynasty league. I guess I could bench him and go with like a second tight end or something. But Wilson's just getting so many catches. And it's him and Trey McBride in what's potentially a shootout game with Cincinnati this week.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, I'm with you with Michael Wilson.
Ash, we appreciate you joining. Make sure to hit like, hit subscribe. Full PPR in the chip. Wilson or Ladd in flex. Schultz or Strange at tight end.
I mean, I think Michael Wilson over Ladd, and I think Strange over Schultz. With the upside there,
I'm going Strange over Schultz.
A couple good games. But I think Chargers pretty good against the tight end too.
Yeah, and it's not. Here's the thing: we can't predict like a 1-1, but we did just see George Kittle like dominate the Colts, and obviously Brenton Strange is not George Kittle, but that's not how. That's just not Dalton Schultz, and I just think, like, if Derwin James plays against the tight end, and we don't really know how it's going to be, but the Chargers are a much better defense, and the Colts got just ripped last week. It could happen again.
Here's some DVOA stats here. The Colts are 7th worst DVOA to the tight end, and it looks like the Chargers are 31st worst, aka second best against the tight end.
There you go. I mean, that backs up everything we just said. So yes.
Yeah.
Start one, Wandale or Tracy, full PPR.
Full PPR.
I'm going Tracy. I tend to lean if they're in a similar role. I'm going to take the safety of the touches, especially in what's going to be the ultimate tank off game, right? Isn't this Isn't this the number one pick game? I also heard that supposedly like Max Crosby walked out of the locker room because they told him they wanted to shut him down for 2 games, and he like left the facility. So maybe he doesn't play. Like
There's bad vibes in Vegas right now for sure. So yeah, I think I'm with you. I think I'm going Tyrone Tracy as well. I think Jackson Dart will bounce back and have a much better week than he did last week.
Yeah, he was terrible.
Yeah.
He was terrible last week. Thoughts on Jacobs? So Jonathan, we appreciate you tuning in. Make sure to hit like, hit subscribe. If you are looking for in-depth, go back like 15 minutes. We kind of chatted about Jacobs a bit if you want to watch all of it. I think to sum up how we feel, like, we're not benching him, but if you have better options and you want to list some of your options, I would consider those options depending who you have. I don't really know without a name.
Yeah.
Like, I think I might play Tyrone Tracy over Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, I could see that one. I think that's where it starts to get real close. Like, obviously, any of the guys that we've talked about as flexes who are in running backs, I would play Jacobs over all those guys. But
Josh Jacobs over Michael Carter, Josh Jacobs over Rico Dowdle, like that. Yes, Tyrone Tracy, Kenny Gainwell, these guys need to be played over Josh Jacobs for upside alone, I would say. So hopefully that helps, Jonathan. Burrito Master, love the username. Make sure to hit like, hit subscribe, Burrito Master. And if you have any burrito coupons, we will 100% accept them. Kenny Gainwell or Jalen Waddle for flex and PPR. I'll give Andy 2 seconds to think, but I like Kenny Gainwell. No DK Metcalf. He's already been incredibly involved. He's basically a top 10 running back over the past month. I don't really think that changes because DK goes down. He just gets so many touches in that offense. So,
yeah, I'm 100% with you. I'd play Kenny Gainwell, and like you said, DK being out. I'm pretty sketched about. Is Tua starting again this week, or is it still?
I think he's fully benched. I
thought too. Yeah, I don't want to see. Yeah, Ewers throwing a Waddle for my championship. I'd rather see
Rodgers to Gainwell.
Yeah, crazy, like laying on the ground, catch the ball 40 yards downfield, get up and run into the end zone catches that Gainwell can make.
Yeah. Michael, we appreciate you liking and subbing. Jonathan, that was my thoughts to play Tracy, then put Wandale in the flex. Yeah, I think I don't hate that at all. I think it's a much easier matchup, and I'm just concerned enough about Jacobs where even if he does play, it could be like 30 yards and a touchdown. Like, I could totally see that kind of game coming from Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, closer to a 50-50 split than what we've seen, because he's been dealing with injuries all year, and I keep thinking he's going to be you know, more benched, and then he goes out, he had a monster game. But then last week, finally, you know, the injuries really are starting to catch up, and Emmanuel Wilson looked a little bit like the better back just because he's a lot healthier and also got a lot more work in that game. So yeah,
for sure.
I'm there. But are you afraid at all then if you're playing both Wandale and Tracy putting that much in the New York Giants basket? Or
because
that is the one thing upside.
I don't I mean, like, I think if Jonathan's about playing Wandale, I'm not going to talk him out of it. I definitely think I would rank Tracy the highest there. I think Wandale and Jacobs is probably more of a conversation. I that's kind of think where I think I more am. I think I would.
But they are playing the Raiders.
About it. Yeah. The Raiders are really bad. The Raiders are really bad.
Yeah.
So I don't know here. Love this question, Burrito. Also, any favorite degenerate stashes in Dynasty? You know, let me take a peek at some of my rosters here. I could probably give you some names, Burrito.
For this, but I will say right now, I think Malik Willis is a guy.
Yeah, we talked about Malik Willis. Superflex leagues, Malik Willis is up there for sure.
There's a good chance he'll be starting for somebody next year, at least.
I guess it depends on how deep, too. I think to start with a couple shallow names, a couple guys that need to be owned. Jalen Coker. I think Jalen Coker is a guy that should be owned in your league. He's someone I wouldn't hate owning. Gunnar Helm. I think Gunnar Helm's a great ad, especially in a tight end premium league. He's been looking good. I really doubt they signed Chigakonkwo. So I think that's a good one. And he's just putting all these waiver ads onto his team right now. I can tell.
Talk a little slower, Gunnar.
Those are a couple I like, Burrito. I think also too some like ones that people, as we've noticed, like as quarterback play has gone down in the NFL, like as in like there's just a finite number of people that play quarterback well, and then there's a lot of people that suck at it. I do really think there's some players that need to be owned in Superflex leagues. Malik Willis, we just mentioned him. I think Davis Mills needs to be owned. He came in, he didn't look terrible. That is a skill. Mac Jones, all of those players need to be owned. And I don't know if you want to call them degenerate stashes, but I see players like that every once in a while get dropped as fancy new toys, like pop up and they're like, oh, I need to add Raheem Sanders. I need to add. And so they drop Malik Willis or Tyre, like that kind of thing. And I kind of like to then stash those guys, mostly because quarterbacks are so easy to trade if you don't need them. Like they are so easy to trade those players. And so the stash isn't to maybe necessarily even use Davis Mills, but it's to get you a second round pick in 3 years. And that's, Tyler Sperry. We appreciate you joining in, man. We're both on the Brenton Strange train. We talked about it a little bit. If you want a little more in-depth, Andy hit us with the stat. DVOA Chargers are the second hardest matchup, and the Colts are a top 10 matchup. Right?
Yeah, seventh best matchup, at least according to the DVOA stats versus the tight end. So yeah. So we're going with I'm not all analytics. I think this is an analytics and a film play. Analytically, it says Strange, and film-wise, we just watched George Kittle play them like they were a high school team, and now Brenton Strange gets the same matchup in what could be a pretty high-scoring game. Devonta Smith or Luther Burden. Andy, do you need a second for that one, or do you want to go? I mean, I feel like I would play Devonta Smith there, but I do.
Yeah, I'm not benching Smith as much as I like the upside of Burden.
Yeah,
Smith has been good, and I think it's a little cute. Now, if you're down, actually, maybe even not. I think I'm just going Devonta Smith.
Yeah,
obviously, there's worlds. Burden outscores him, but Devonta Smith has upside ceiling games all the time, and I don't think for me, I'm going to get too cute in just the last week here. So we're going to move into the defenses. Keep the questions coming, guys. Andy going with the New York Giants in what is known as the number 1 pick bowl. Brock Bowers ain't playing. Maybe Max Crosby ain't playing. Maybe they're going to bench their whole line. I could get gross.
This is going to be such a gross and kind of fun game, and a lot of fantasy players in this matchup potentially, or at least a couple. This Giants defense has been playing a little bit better as of late, obviously against some pretty bad offenses, and Las Vegas has a pretty bad offense. New York's line is really good. They have other problems with their defense, but I think their offense is going to bounce back too, which should help out their defense a little bit as well. Definitely better options, but this is a team that is on the waiver wire out there. If there's a lot of defenses available, this wouldn't be my first choice, but this is one that is not going to be rostered very heavily and would be there. So
yeah, I like it. They are a heavy sack team. It's a great matchup. It's an away game, but who really cares? Honestly, probably going to be a lot of Giants fans there. I'm going with the Packers. I wouldn't have once gone with this, and they really haven't been playing that well. But they're going up against a backup QB at home. Snoop Huntley is a fine player. I don't think he's going to blow your socks off. He's probably going to make some mistakes. He might make some plays. But even though the Packers DST didn't get the fantasy points last week, I actually think they played really well last week. I think Caleb just kind of beat him there at the end. So I don't think their upside has been limited with no Micah Parsons, but I don't think a good DST game is without a realm of their possibilities here. They looked really well. They have a really good defensive coordinator. This game's at home, and they're going to play hard. I don't think they're going to want to lean on the defense in this game, so I could see them making some plays.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is going to be a very run-heavy game from both offenses. And I think, after losing that heartbreaker last week, the Packers, they just clinched the playoff spots. That's got to be a little bit of a spirit morale boost. But I think it could also be a pretty big rally week being back at home, trying to get some momentum for a playoff push. So I like it too.
And then moving into our kickers, which are the last guys we're going to cover. Andy's going with our boy, Andy Borregales. Might make the record for most picked streamer just because no one picks this dude up, man. He's had a pretty good season. He's kicker 10, and he's available in every single league everywhere.
Yeah. Let me see. Where did I put something about him? Nope. There we go. Yeah, your guy last week. I actually did it. It's the 5th time one of us has picked him as our kicker, and that's starting from week 7 when he first popped onto our radar. But man, he's been since then kicker 7 in points per game. So he's somebody that if you got him, hopefully you still got him, because now also playing the Jets, they allow the most points to kickers in the league. Still on waivers in 80% of leagues. So if you have to play a kicker in the championship game, you don't necessarily like your one, or they're just okay. I think this is a guy that has every opportunity to score lots of points on a good offense against a bad defense, and he's been really consistent. So,
yeah, another one that I think is just going pretty lowly owned, even though he's had, 3 good games in a row, 9, 11, 12 and a half. Harrison Mevis, guess it's just because he wasn't drafted. Kickers are weird, dude. This dude's 6%, 6% rostered. But if you're going off his last 3-week span, he's probably a top 7-8 kicker, very similar to Borregales. So, also what this one has, man, and it's the ultimate move, the Monday night kicker of the fantasy championship. So it's very possible that this dude could kick yourself to a title game. But same thing. There are certain things you can look for when picking your kickers. Nothing is going to be certain. The analysis is never going to be perfect. High team totals, you look for that. Indoor games, I guess, that has both of those things. And a good stretch. I think that's kind of what I'm looking for, is momentum, good games back to back to back for kickers, indoor, good offense. So I'm going with Harrison Mevis. And looks like we got one more question. We'll probably be wrapping up after this question if we don't get any more. So if you had any last chance questions you guys needed, hit us up. Michael Goldfield, I feel like might recognize that name. But if you are new to the channel, make sure to hit subscribe. If you are not, thanks for coming back, dude. I'm leaning on starting Jacoby. I just like that matchup. We like it too. Sauce is back. Will he be guarding BTJ or Jacoby? I wouldn't worry about it. I would say I'm not too concerned about Sauce in general. Even if he does play, he's probably not going to just follow Jacoby. He plays on the outside a lot. Jacoby moves around. And even then, I've seen enough videos of Sauce getting toasted that I'm not that afraid. But
yeah, I'm with you there. I don't think, I think it's definitely a little bit of an upgrade for their secondary, but him, an injured Sauce Gardner, who's probably not going to be following somebody. I'm not going to let that affect.
Injured, they're out of the playoffs. It doesn't matter here. Another dynasty question from Burrito. Which tight end would you pick in dynasty? Jatavian Sanders, Darnell Washington, Tunges, free agent, Okonkwo, free agent. Kmet could be cut this offseason.
I feel like Tunges has played fairly well. I would maybe Tunges, Jatavian, then Kmet.
I think I might go. Honestly, I think I'm going Chig. And I think my logic is pure upside. He is an athletic tight end that if he's signed in the right place, I think he has the best chance to be a top 8 player. I think you could make the argument no one else on this list will ever be a top 8 tight end. And so that's really the pure logic there. I don't hate the Tunges stash though. If you like his tape, I think also though, he's on San Francisco. It's a really tight end friendly. I don't necessarily know if that's just going to immediately translate to another team.
Yeah. The one thing I will say, Jatavian Sanders is only 22 years old.
Yeah. And I like him. I like Sanders too. He would have been my second choice on the list.
Yeah. So I think for me, I would lean Sanders just because he's so much younger, but I definitely get what you're saying. Okonkwo is, quite athletic. And Tunges has looked good. So
yeah. And then I as much as I love Darnell Washington, I don't really see him as, I think this is the most he's going to be used. And he probably just stays in Pittsburgh.
He's got a great role. I think he's a lot more important to that team than he is for scoring fantasy points.
Yeah.
What 100%. He does blocking and then, still being a somewhat of a receiving threat.
Jules Lace, appreciate the comment. Make sure to hit subscribe. Start 2, Tet, Mike Wilson, T. Higgins, Mike Evans, Jawan Jennings. That is
those are good. Those are pretty good players.
Good options. I need some. I'm going to pull these matchups so just on my phone up in front of me.
Yeah, I think them. Wilson, I'm still starting. Bucks are playing at Miami.
I think I'm going Evans and Jennings. I don't know. I'm just kind of throwing names. Honestly, I like a lot of these options, so I understand why you're torn.
Close.
I understand why you're torn here, Jules or Joels. If I hope I'm pronouncing that correct.
Jennings. Yeah, I guess Chicago too.
Jennings has looked too good. I don't think you can bench him. I love Michael Wilson in a sense, but I don't think I would play him over these guys. This is a list of guys that are potentially
I feel I might play him over Tet this week because they're playing the Seahawks.
Yeah, I have ignored
potential, but he can also. Yeah, he's been shut down in plenty of games before too.
Maybe it was because his name was only 3 letters and it was the first one. I kind of forgot Tet was on the list. But I would play all of them. I would also play all of these guys over Tet though.
Yeah.
I think if I had to rank them, I would go Evans, Jennings, Higgins, Wilson, Tet. But
I think I'm at Evans, Jennings, Wilson, Higgins, Tet.
Yeah.
I love Higgins, but that passing offense can go so many different ways. where Wilson is.
So hopefully that helps. We wish you the best.
Good luck.
So last thing I'm going to do, just going to pull up our stats for the season. If you guys have any questions, make sure to drop them. Other than that, this will be the last thing we do real quick. And then we wish you guys the best for your fantasy. Oh, he does have a comment here. And if you want to read that while I get the screen shared up.
Currently starting Evans and Higgins, but yeah, been a struggle picking between them the last few weeks. And then he says, thanks. So yeah, you're very welcome. And yeah, those are all good players to have to choose from, which those are like the best decisions to have. It's not like you're debating between playing any of our guys that we're picking for the show, your waiver wire pickups, but it's the really tough decisions too.
It's the worst, best help. Yeah. It's like, I love having a deep team, but it sucks.
Yeah.
It kind of sucks to have to choose sometimes. So these are our stats from last week. If you guys are still watching, remember, these are desperation flex plays. We hope you don't have to play these guys, but these are the guys we would play if we had to pick someone up and play them, basically. So we didn't do too well flex-wise, but we've been doing pretty well DST kicker-wise. We both hit on QBs, 18.9, 20.5 out of both of our QBs last week, so I felt pretty good about that. Andy, I don't know if we've hit kicker 1 ever. I think we've hit DST number 1. Yeah. I don't know if we've hit kicker number 1, so congrats on that. We'll have to have a tracker maybe next year on if you hit number 1 at any position as well, just to kind of pull it on the side, though. So hopefully you picked up Smythe.
Yeah.
Hopefully you picked up Smythe, and I would love if there's someone out there that played Smythe because of you and made it to the fantasy championship all because of Smythe dropping like 20 points. So hats off to that. But it doesn't look like we have any other questions. So thank you guys for tuning in. This is our last show of the Flex Friday series. Maybe we'll take like next week off, and then we'll come back at you for the playoffs with maybe some dynasty content, some playoff football, maybe some like parlays or something to be fun. Pick 'em. I don't know.
Yeah, there's some playoff fantasy contests that people we could look into one of those, maybe join it together, talk through.
We could do it together. Yeah, I wouldn't hate that.
Figure something out.
And obviously, we always do dynasty stuff as well. So if you guys ever have any dynasty questions, just comment on any video, and we're here to help you. But we appreciate you tuning in. My voice is about to just absolutely be shot. So Andy, thank you for joining, my man.
Dude, thanks for having me. Good luck in your championship.
Yeah,
bring home those.